What's up YouTube? JM Comics here. With the Wii U eShop not accepting funds after August 29th, about a week and a half from now, this is the best time to pick up the Virtual Console games you never had the chance to. I bought all of the games I wanted in the last 8 months, so here are those games that I recommend, as well as games I haven't played. But believe me, there are great deals and investments for the future. Before we start, remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below what Wii U Virtual Console games you've played the most. Mine personally is Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance. Anywho, without further ado, here is my Wii U Virtual Console games buying guide. Let's start off with the NES games. I'm going to divide this by console and I'll talk mostly about the price of the game physically and how it compares to the eShop version. So let's start with the NES games. And I only have 2 of these that I'll recommend here, because it's a console I don't know a lot of niche facts about since it was way before my time. But the first one is Pac-Land. This game featured on the Famicom only, and it's about $40 physically. It's a game in the Pac-Man series that isn't talked about too much, and inspired a stage from Smash Bros. Wii U and Smash Bros. Ultimate. So if it interests you as a side-scrolling game starring Pac-Man, that was a mouthful, go pick it up. The other game is technically not an NES game. It's Super Mario Bros. Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3. It released on the Game Boy Advance, and it's pretty much an enhanced port of the NES game Super Mario Bros. 3, with even more levels added in. Many consider it the best version of the game, which many consider it one of the best Mario games. So if that appeals to you, I'd advise snagging it on the Virtual Console for $8. Moving on to the SNES games, I've similarly got a couple of them, with the most important being Super Mario RPG Legend of the 7 Stars. It is literally $324 physically on the SNES right now. There is no modern way to play this game, and I doubt Nintendo will port it over to the Switch, with all the rights of Square Enix. And the Wii U Virtual Console is one of, if not the, only port of the game ever. I personally haven't bought it because I don't like RPGs, but this is definitely a steal for $8. Another great snag is Contra Free The Alien Wars, which is currently going for $191. The game is often talked about as the best game in the Contra series, so it's well worth picking up. An extremely obscure game I found during my research is called Uncharted Waters New Horizons, and it's also really expensive physically, going for $149. I don't know anything about this game, but if you want your virtual library to be expensive one day, with the hopes of selling your Wii U or your USB containing this game, then you should definitely pick it up. Moving on to the N64, I actually bought a Virtual Console game for it, that being Donkey Kong 64. Really, any game made by Rare is great, and Donkey Kong 64 is no exception. The game is really long with its overabundance of collectibles, but overall it's a good experience, and Nintendo hasn't re-released this game since. It currently goes for $81 physically, so if I were you, I'd purchase it on the Virtual Console. Ogre Battle 64 is the greatest N64 steal, as the physical of it is going for $321. Additionally, Harvest Moon 64 is the next greatest N64 steal, as its physical goes for $309. These are both absolute must-buys if you're into RPGs. I am not, so I'm not buying them. So if you like RPGs, go buy them right now. Going on to the Game Boy/Game Boy Advance, I have many games that I advise buying from this collection for your Wii U Virtual Console, since almost all of its games haven't gotten any ports on the Switch. First off, Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion are 2 games I picked up that are basically must-buys. Zero Mission, a remake of the first Metroid from the NES, goes for $251 physically, and it completely redoes everything that game did. While Fusion, the 2D Metroid game preceding Metroid Dread on the Switch, goes for $182 physically. Onto another series, Legend of Zelda The Minish Cap is extremely underrated and goes for $210 physically. It's arguably the best 2D Zelda game. I personally prefer A Link Between Worlds, but Minish Cap is still a top 10 Zelda game that you should definitely pick up on the VC. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages are also both going for over $170, but with the high likelihood that they get remade on Switch, a rumor that's been going rampant for a while, I'd hold off on these games. If you're dying to play them, however, you should probably just purchase them both, because combined they're selling for almost $400 physically. Another GBA game that I purchased was WarioWare Incorporated Mega Micro Games, which is going for $124. As the first game in the series, it's worth checking out if you're a WarioWare fan or really like the idea of minigames. However, keep in mind that it's the same game as the GameCube WarioWare, just in case you already own that version of it. I also picked up Donkey Kong DK King of Swing, but it's not going for that much. It's going for about $60 physically, so if you'd rather have that version, I mean, just go ahead for it. Personally though, I'd rather play it on a big screen than on a GBA, but it was designed for the GBA, so it's your choice. Drill Dozer was made by Game Freak, the company that makes all the Pokemon games, and received positive reviews when it was released. It's an extremely unique 2D platformer that can be played on modern hardware, and it goes for $190 physically right now, so it's best to snag it up for $8 on the Wii U. Finally, for the GB/GBA, both Gold and Sun games go for about $100 each physically right now. So if you love RPGs or have only played the DS one, go check them out on the Virtual Console and save $200. On to DS games. Speaking of the DS, Metroid Prime Hunters is going for about $40 physically, but only $10 on the eShop. The game had positive reviews and is sort of a Metroid Prime Lite game. The demo of it was a launch title for the DS, and the full game itself is more like a tech demo than anything else. But if you really want to own it, this is the time to pick it up. The first and only Fire Emblem game on this list, Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, a remake of the first Fire Emblem, is going for a whopping $88 physically right now. So buying this for $10 is a no-brainer. Kirby Squeak Squad and Kirby Canvas Curse are both going for about $40 and $60 respectively, so go check them out. The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass and The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks are both going for about $40 physically as well right now, so similarly, go check them out if you're a Zelda fan. All of the Pokemon Rangers games are going for about $40 right now, and while I'm not a Pokemon fan at all, if you are, take your pick of the lot of these two games. Or these free games. Advance Wars Dual Strike is also going for about $40, and with the first two being remade on Switch, the remake coming out soon apparently, you might want to pick up this game, so that once the remakes come out, you can play right through them and then move on to this one. Finally, for the DS, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time is going for $55 physically right now, and while it's often agreed upon as the worst game in the Mario and Luigi series, it's still a quality game that is worth $10, way over $55, so pick it up if you want to. By far, the console I have the most things to recommend for is the Wii. My most recommended game on this list, not just for the Wii but in general, is the Metroid Prime trilogy. This collection of games for such a low price, at only $20, will literally never be seen again from Nintendo. When the Prime games come to Switch, it will either be through a $60 upscaling of this game, or, as is heavily rumored, a remake of the first game with the other two following, each for $60. The chance to play these free games before Prime 4 comes out for a low price will never happen again. I have an entire USB stick for my Wii U that only contains these free games, that I will start playing through in the future, and I believe it's the best digital game purchase I have ever made. You are getting free full first-person shooter games for only $20 each, or $20 overall, so definitely scoop this up as quickly as possible. Another Wii game I'd recommend purchasing is Punch-Out Wii. I personally own the physical copy of the game, but it's a really great evolution of the first two games, and the physical copy is going for about $35 in the box, and I really want Nintendo to make a new one. So if physical isn't also important for you, it's worth buying up to show Nintendo people still care about this series. Rhythm Heaven Fever is selling physically for over $100 right now, and Nintendo seems to have no desire to continue the series or remaster this specific game, so picking it up for $20 on the Wii U is the most affordable way to play it. The new Play Control versions of Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 are worth looking into, as the GameCube versions of those games, as well as the physical Wii ports, are worth about $60. Most people view the Wii versions as the best versions of them, and while it's not necessarily important to play the Pikmin games in order, this is the most convenient way to play the first two if you want to work your way up to Free Deluxe on Switch. I have played Free Deluxe, and I didn't feel the need to play the first two, but if that's you, that's you. Our final game in this video, is Pandora's Tower, going for $96 physically. This is a no-brainer if you love RPGs, and considering that this game has been pretty much forgotten by Nintendo, it will likely be a long time until this game gets ported, if it ever does. I haven't picked this up because I don't like RPGs, as I've mentioned multiple times, but if you do, buy this right now. And that's about it for this video. I hope that I helped you buy your final games on the WiiU Virtual Console before it gets put in the ground, if you know what I'm trying to say. Comment down below what games you bought because of this video, and while you're down there, drop a like and hit that subscribe button for more Nintendo videos. JM Comics, out.